like there's a little bit of creepiness to them, and that's important. Pasco, you came for the Division. Well, you're in the right place. It's coming up so shortly. I'm going to build one more thing in my castle, and then we're going to get ready to toss it back to the Division spot, because they will be ready for us. Let's build Griffin Bastion and see how this... Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it looks great. All right, so we'll be seeing more of this later in the week as Heroes of Might and Magic 3 Remake returns to the stage at Gamescom tomorrow. I'll give you the full breakdown of the schedule once this Division 2 panel concludes. But for now, let's gear up. It's Division 2 time. The developers are waiting, and they're on standby. Well, no, I'm on standby. They're waiting. They're getting set for you to join them, chat. Now, a few things to keep in mind. If you have questions for them, I'm not sure how much of a Q&A is going to be featured in this one, but keep an eye on the Twitch chat for a link to a Slido, which is like where you type in the questions and then it sends them there. They won't be looking at the Twitch chat itself. Without further ado, it is time to send you back to Cologne for the Division 2 panel. Enjoy.
Here, and before we start, I want to share something really cool. We recently reached a major milestone for the franchise. We are now over 50 million Division agents. How cool is that? Come on. I hope most of you are tuning in today because we got a lot to share. My name is Anais. I'm community developer on the Division 2, and I will be your host today. Not alone, I'm in great company, starting with my co-host.
Hello, everyone. Now it's working. I'm Leo Lorenzoni, as well, community developer for the Division 2. And today, we're going to take a look on what's happening soon in the Division 2. So we're going to talk about Red Horizon, our next season, about crossplay, and something that I know that a lot of people have a big interest on, Central Park.
Yes. We also have a very familiar face. Somebody who's been with the Division for so long. He's a boss in the game. Our creative director.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yannick Banchero. Super excited to see all of you. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing?
Also, the man who can do one tweet and it turns into 20 Reddit theories. Our game director.
Hi everybody, I'm Alexandru Burzano. I'm the game director for the game. Super hyped to be here. It's my first Gamescom ever, so let's have a blast.
Gamescom, baby.
Rookie.
Before we start with today's agenda, I want to cover what everybody's interested in, merch. Everybody here will get some cool merch when you leave, but we're not leaving you behind. Of course, the people watching online will get in-game replicas of these cool t-shirts if you join our Discord server, official Discord server, and connect your Ubisoft account. It also is an accompanying arm patch. So do that before the end of the panel tomorrow. And yeah, we'll do the grants before end of week. And also, Silo. So anybody asking questions online, you have a Silo link. We actually have a Q&A tomorrow, so we will cover all of those questions then. We won't answer any of those questions right now. Now, let's get to something that everybody wants to hear about. It's one of the biggest community requests we've ever seen. What am I talking about?
Dino suit.
Thank you! Crossplay, yes. Today we will announce when crossplay arrives. Yannis, yeah. Kick us off. How did we get here?
Well, yeah, as you said, crossplay has been like highly requested feature. I think pretty much since the dawn of the Division, at least the Division 2 for sure. People that have been here for a long time know that every time we talk about the game, every time we talk to players, everybody wants to know about crossplay and when we're bringing crossplay. And we've always said that crossplay would be a very, very hard tech endeavor. The game wasn't built for crossplay in the first place. which means the whole online infrastructure behind the game was not really made for that. And throughout the years, I've been on record several times saying it would be almost impossible to do because it would take so much effort, it would take a complete rebuilding of everything, that we wouldn't be able to do that. But times have changed, and thanks to everybody's support and thanks to the renewed success of the game, now we can be ambitious. And that means we can do things that were impossible in the past, and the moment we can be ambitious, the first thing we set out to do was bringing crossplay to everyone. But it is still a big endeavor, I didn't lie about that. We have a team that is dedicated to it, that is really working very hard on changing everything that needs to be changed to bring crossplay to everyone. But we need to be very careful because we could do a lot of damage if we do it wrong. And we don't want any one of you to lose your saves, to lose any progress, to the game not working the day we deploy crossplay or anything like that. So we have to be very careful and take the time we need, while in the same time try to be as fast as we can because we know a lot of people are waiting for it very eagerly. So what I can tell you today is that as a window we are aiming for November for crossplay to come.
Yay!
Yes, now I have the confirmation. And Yannick, players have been asking for crossplay for a long time. What's the thing that excites you the most about putting everyone in the same matchmaking pool?
Well, I mean, first doing something that's been asked for so long and finally delivering on it. But it's, you know, the Division is an online game. It's a social experience. And sure, you can play the game on your own if you want, and it's totally fine. And it works that way. It works just well like that. But at the end of the day, we believe that the Division is even more fun when you're playing with others. And it can be with your friends, or that can be meeting players online. So crossplay is just one step towards bringing more social and really trying to bring that community and that player base, all of them together to really hopefully meet new people, make new friends. Yeah, platform not being a limitation means maybe also it's an opportunity for you to meet people that play on another platform and understand the game from a different angle. You know, you matchmake, you're on PC, you end up with a PlayStation player, and you're playing the Incursion, and turns out it feels very different. And because you're now match-made, you can talk about it. So I do hope it's going to bring another layer of togetherness to the player base. And I'm just super excited that we finally get to do it.
And to be fair, there's a couple of important notes of what this will mean when it goes live. So first of all, everyone should experience lower queue times. We're unlocking access between all platforms. So if you're queuing up for any activity in the game, queue times should be way resolved because now you're not siloed into your own platform. Then on the leaderboards aspect, we've had multiple requests throughout time of resetting leaderboards. Well, now whether we want it or not, because of crossplay and the technical implications, we will do a full leaderboard wipe. So I'm hoping to see some just new times appear. And I think another bit that was really important from the community, and we kept it in mind as we were developing crossplay, was keeping it optional. Some people might not want to play with other platforms, and I think that's fair. So we put in the work to make sure that crossplay will be something that you can opt out whenever you want at any point in time.
Yes, you touched on some technical limitations. Is there anything else that the player should be aware of day one?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, and I think as we get closer to it, we're going to detail even more what does that actually entail, what does crossplay really entail, but I can talk about a few things here. So when we deploy crossplay, what's going to happen behind the curtain is all players will be migrated to the crossplay environment. But as Alex said, crossplay is an option, so we're going to give the option to all of you to decide if you want to play in crossplay or not. So that means in the settings, you will have an option, simple, crossplay on and off. One thing that is important to know is that you will only be able to make that change when you're at the character selection screen, so before you actually enter the game. You cannot change between crossplay or no crossplay while you're playing the game. This is an important limitation for us. So you need to make that decision when you're selecting your character. If you change your mind, you need to log out, make the change, and come back into the game. Crossplay on and crossplay off, simple, means crossplay on, you're going to see everyone. Crossplay off means you're not going to see players that are not on your platform. If you have crossplay on, you're also not going to see players who have crossplay off. So stick with me. We are going to wipe the leaderboards. As Alex said, leaderboards will also have a crossplay on and off option, so you will be able to see, based on what you selected, either players from all platforms or just players from your platform. And then one big part of crossplay that we've had a lot of questions on is clans. So we are going to migrate all the clans to the crossplay environment as well. Means you don't have to recreate your clan. We are going to do that for you. Your clans will be there with the same members. There will not be an option to make a platform exclusive clan. So clans will be crossplay by default. It's going to be up to the clan members and the people who can accept invites to decide if they want to accept people from other platforms or not. So we're putting that power within your hands. We are not creating any rules on any of that.
And I'm also happy to say that based on a large part of feedback that we got from the community when we announced crossplay, because everyone is going to be, you're going to be able to break the barriers of platform. We're also going to increase the clan sizes from 50 to 100 to try to accommodate everyone joining up together.
So November, crossplay arrives. Now, let's shift the focus to Red Horizon. The third season of Year 8 is about to make Washington a whole lot hotter. It launches tomorrow, August 27th. Let's take a look.
Or not.
Let's take a look.
Let's go.
They say it's always darkest before the dawn. But tomorrow's gonna be a red horizon. The cleaners have come to DC, burning everything in their path, hunting for something. Only you can stop them. So gear up, Agent. It's gonna be a long night. We've got work to do. It's time to fight fire with fire.
So,
Fire.
fire.
It's always so much cooler when, I mean, hotter, I guess, but cooler anyway, when we have the cleaners. I don't know. You put the cleaners in a trailer and directly it looks nice.
So yes, the cleaners have made their way to Washington. Yannick, can you set the stage?
Yes, so this new season, Red Horizon, obviously is about fire. That's, I think, I don't know if you get a hint. And it's about the cleaners. So this is actually a direct next step after the events of Battle for Brooklyn, the DLC. I hope everyone here played it. If you haven't, close your ears, I'm about to spoil some of it. But in Battle for Brooklyn, you know, the cleaners created a new weapon called the Purple Flame. And they had a refinery where they were building their supplies of Purple Flame. Some of you, someone from you, destroyed that refinery. All of you did. And so that means they no longer have supplies. So they're looking for supplies. And this is why they decided to come to Washington, D.C., because they know that there's a lot of fuel in Washington, D.C., a lot of supplies that they can actually steal and use to keep building or to keep powering their weapons and their fire. So they're coming, but they've gathered a really, really great force. They're coming with a major army to Washington, D.C. They are not here yet. You have time to prepare. You're going to start seeing the vanguard. You're going to start seeing the first signs of the cleaners getting closer to Washington, D.C. You have to prepare the defenses. So this is what this season is about. It's get ready, prepare. A major force of cleaners is coming to Washington, D.C. to burn it to the ground.
And Yannick, we've seen the world being transformed before. Recently, we had the Dust Storm event. Players saw Warlords of New York being transformed by the Dust Storm. But now we are talking about transforming Washington, D.C. as a whole. What's going to be the first thing that players will notice when the new season arrives?
So, I mean, I think I can take this one. Obviously, like in the trailer, you're going to start meeting cleaners in the street. This means control points, activities in the open world. We've added cleaners in Retaliation in the DC map, so this is going to be a bit fresh than usual. Of course, like in the previous seasons, they bring in their own elite kill squad that's going to spawn and try to ambush you from time to time. And lastly, we tried something a bit different this time around. Like Yannick said, you're now meeting the Vanguard, and we wanted to show players what it means when another faction comes and starts invading DC as time progresses. So at season start, you should see some unusual weather effects in the horizon. I'm gonna let it be a surprise. And as the season progresses and we get closer and closer to the climax, when it's not just the Vanguard, they're here now, those effects should intensify specifically to give players this notion of they're here, I can see them, I can feel them, always watching here.
We've been playing around a lot lately, as you know, with transforming the world and changing weather presets and all this kind of stuff. So expect a season with a lot of changes throughout the season happening to the world.
And something that we noticed during the trailer is that the fire carries over to the classified assignments, at least for the first one. What the agents are going to face in this?
Yeah, so we will have a classified assignment at season launch, as usual this year. But this time, for the first time, we are actually tying this classified assignment to the narrative of the season itself. It is also connected to the overall narrative of all the classified assignments. So this is still about investigating the lost agents. But also, by doing that, you're going to a location that is invaded by some of those cleaners that are coming to Washington, D.C. So what that means is, of course, once again, fire in the classified assignment. But as you know, classified assignments, they are puzzle-based experiences. It's a location you go into, there's some combat, but there's a lot of puzzle mechanics, there's a lot of puzzle you need to solve to access the room, to get the keycard, to get the fuse box, and all of that. So once you start using fire as an ingredient in those puzzles, it creates a lot of new opportunities for us to make a classified assignment, but I think is going to feel quite different from the ones you've had until now.
Yes. Let's talk a bit about gameplay. So the pressure gauge is the big new mechanic this season. Could you give us a little rundown of how that works? And also, since we had a PTS where players tested it, is there any feedback that will be implemented in tomorrow's launch?
For sure. So for players that are watching and haven't kept up, PTS is our public test server. We had a PTS for this particular season a couple of weeks ago where players got to experience the work in progress that was there for Red Horizon. On the pressure gauge, right. So for this season, the special mechanic is going to be the pressure gauge. As you kill enemies in multiple ways, you're going to build up a pressure gauge that appears on the UI. The more you build it up at certain thresholds, you automatically gain a passive bonus to your stats. And after reaching another separate threshold, you'll be able to activate your active modifiers for this season. And then that's how it's going to work. It's funny you should mention PTS. I think it was a really fruitful PTS this time around. We actually got an important piece of feedback. While it's cool to see the pressure gauge go up when doing kills and headshots and whatnot, when players played together and someone was a healer or was playing support or status effects, they wouldn't necessarily get the kill and they'd be stuck with an average pressure gauge. So we actually implemented a change after PTS whereby even assists will count towards the pressure gauge to make it easier for players with any kind of builds to do that. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about active modifiers?
Yeah, I really want to talk about active modifiers. So to be fair, I'm really happy how the season comes together. Sometimes it takes a while to figure out what's the magic for that particular season. For this one, it's quite clear. It's fire. So everything came together really nicely. On the active modifiers, again, they were available for PTS, so I'm just going to briefly touch on them. We have
Fiery Aura.
Fiery Aura, yep. I think that's the one. So that one, once you activate it, you would get damage resistance and then more damage resistance as you're running out of cover. This is basically the anti-hotfoot for all the hotfoot enjoyers in escalation. This is why we built it. You gain a bit of strength for not being in cover and actually running in front of the enemy. And then...
Are there any hotfoot enjoyers?
At least one, come on. At least one person has to enjoy hot. Okay, fine. Well, we made a special active modifier to help counteract that in the future. And then we have Signed Shield Delivered, which will actually provide a massive boost to your specialization weapons. I know it's easy to play the game without spec weapons. We still really love them, and we wanted to give them particular love this season. So this should help with players that want to switch from primary to secondary to actually using their spec weapon.
You talk about a lot of modifiers. Yannick, do you have a favorite one or something that you're excited for the players to test out this season?
Well, I mean, first, I'm just excited to play with fire. But no, I really like the idea of getting to use specialization again. I love the flamethrower. Going into a fire season with cleaners just makes me want to grab a flamethrower and burn everything. The bad guys, not the good guys. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to everything that is spec related, so I can try to put a fire build with the flamethrower and just play around with that.
So we're going to have everything, all the details available in the patch notes that are going to be released right after this stream. You can check there all the description for the 3 active modifiers, the 20 passive modifiers, and the 3 hostile modifiers as well. Something that we have for Season 3 is also Dark Zone, because we just had Season 2 with Into the Dark. We had a new variation of the Dark Zone, the Toxic Dark Zone. So one of the big announcements that we had was the PvE Dark Zone staying for Season 3. Do we have any changes for that?
Yeah, for sure. So originally we planned it to be a seasonal feature. It was just supposed to be for Season 2. The more players played around in the Dark Zone, we saw that they were enjoying it. We had a bunch of requests of please keep it in the game. It's just nice to be able to explore the Dark Zone without being demolished by other players. So with that in mind, yes, we agreed. We're going to keep one Dark Zone to be PvE permanently moving forward. And because it was so tied originally to the mechanics of Season 2, obviously we had to make some changes to it. So we nerfed the toxicity debuff that you get when playing in the PvDZ. Because we got rid of the sample canisters and all of the means of removing toxicity from you, we've made it so that when you tie your gear to the helicopter rope, you now fully remove any toxicity that you've gained, and I think that's pretty cool. And we had one big request, even from the start of Season 2, and I'm happy to say that, yes, we will be removing PvP overrides from the PvDZ, only for that one. Bear in mind, we did make the enemies tougher to compensate for all of the extra power that players will have.
So you talked about being demolished by other players. So we have a special thing for that in works. So you want to talk about the other Dark Zone?
Oh boy. So not only are we keeping the PvDZ, but on this topic, we really wanted to try out something interesting. Speaking about demolishing other players. We're going to also launch a new PvP DZ rule set. So we're not changing the map, we're changing the rules that apply to a particular PvP Dark Zone. We're calling it Blackout, where the experiment that we want to try this season is what happens when all players have completely uncapped power. So you have your SHD watch, you have your expertise. We allow Prototype to be used in this PvP DZ. Of course, our lead PvP designer, Florin, did already a balance pass on the augments, so we don't get into really crazy builds, but I think this should lead to an interesting environment for our players where being the apex predator is actually something possible. And to make it worthwhile, because if you're in such a dangerous zone, you might as well be rewarded. You will have the possibility of getting prototype gear within this particular DZ. You might lose it, but you'll drop it at least.
Some people will lose it, for sure.
Yep.
On top of everything's mentioned, we also have some seasonal event, of course, so there won't be a boring moment this season. More information on that soon. Now, Red Horizon isn't the end of year 8. What can you tell us about the year finale, Yannick? No spoilers now.
What can I say without spoilers? There is another season. We are doing a season 4 this year. The name is to be revealed. The actual content is to be revealed. What I can tell you is that it's going to be focusing on the Black Tusk. It's been 2 seasons already. 2 seasons, but we've been doing other seasons, or other factions. At the end of season 1, if you remember, the Black Tusk kind of decided to slow down and refocus on other things because they keep being beaten by us. But now they're going to come back. And they're not coming back alone because they're going to be bringing reinforcements in the form of the White Tusk. So expect a whole new level of challenge.
And I know we mentioned maybe in a live stream at some point something about prototype getting reworked and offering recalibration. So originally that was planned for season 3. Now it didn't necessarily hit the quality bar that we had in plan. We wanted to make sure that when this new version, not necessarily this upgraded version of prototype goes live, we wanted all players to really love it and enjoy it. So because of that, we have moved the prototype recalibration to season 4. And to be fair, it makes sense because Yannick hinted already at a couple of things that you'll be able to see in season 4. Suffice to say that with all of the power that you're going to have and the control you're going to have on prototype, there will be new challenges for which to test those builds of yours.
Yeah, all of this is very exciting. But as we can see on the roadmap, there is one more thing coming year 8. Today, we are revealing the title and the key art of our next DLC. Little drum roll or something. Come on, hype it up. Woo!
Let's go. It has a name.
It has a name. It's a thing.
Yes. Echoes of Central Park. Yannick, what can you tell us about the title and also the locations? Maybe not all agents know why Central Park is so iconic for the division.
Well, I mean, anybody that's been with the division since, especially since Division 1, will know Central Park has a special place there. And we love New York City. We always love to go back to New York City. There's so much more to explore in that city, and it's so connected and rooted in the fantasy of the division, but we wanted to go back there one more time. But when started looking at New York City and what can we do that we haven't done, how can we offer something different that is still connected to New York City, we very quickly landed on Central Park, being like, okay, that's the one thing we haven't done yet. And you know Central Park, if you've played Division 1, you've been to the Dark Zone, you've seen the wall to Central Park, you've seen the body bags that are just like spilling over the wall into the Dark Zone. What exists behind that wall? What exists in Central Park? Not that broken piece of world with 3 trees that people actually glitch their way into in the days of Division 1. There's going to be an actual map. But there's so many mysteries around it. And Echoes of Central Park is a way for us to explore that fantasy of like the mystery of the park, those dark woods, what lies within this park, what are people saying about it, how does it influence the life around in the streets that surround the park, and really, more importantly, what actually remains inside the park.
And since we released the first concept art for Central Park, we had a lot of fans exploring a lot of theories on internet, on Reddit especially, with a lot of reference to I Am Legend. What can you tell us without spoilers? This is not the moment for spoilers, but what can you tell us now?
So it's like, tell us more, but don't spoil anything. Okay,
Yes.
sure, I'll do that.
The hardest question that we keep asking.
No, but it's and so some people picked it up when we looked at online conversation. Yes, there is a darker tone here. We're really playing with the thematic of mystery and fear. So it is not just about Central Park as much as the title is Echoes of Central Park, and we said it's Central Park. In this DLC, Central Park is one part of the map, but you have the streets next to it. So we're going into the Upper West Side. We're going to be exploring those streets, and we're going to be meeting the people who live there. But those people, they are not like the civilians we've seen in other places that got to band together, build communities, and try to survive by working together. Those people are petrified with fear. They live every day in the constant fear of the park and what they believe lives inside the park and comes out of the park. And that gives us that kind of darkness, horror vibe that we're going to be playing with for this DLC, which allows us to create a very different tonalities and play with all the different kind of stories you can expect coming from this setting.
And again, I know that people, especially on the stream, are like going crazy now, wanting to know more. So at least give us, how does it start?
Well, it starts very originally, like any Division experience. Not a helicopter crash, but a distress call. You receive a distress call from inside Central Park, and everybody was believed to be dead around there. There should be nothing coming from the park, and yet you get a ping, you get a distress call. So you are sent there to investigate and find out what is this call about, why did they call us, who are those people that are still living inside the park, if anybody is even still alive, what does this distress call mean? But again, everybody was supposed to be dead, so you have zero information. You go into the park completely blind. You don't know anything about what lies in there, what happened there since the days of the collapse. And you're going to find out as you enter into the park, as you start the DLC, you're going to realize that this is a whole completely different world. And you're going to have to untangle those mysteries and find people, find survivors in the streets of Upper West Side to work with you and to help you so you can prepare to go back into the park and face what lies in there.
Yes, these two concept arts that we just saw, we shared on our socials, so most people have probably already seen them. We're at Gamescom, of course we brought some fresh ones, so let's take a look at the first one.
It's green.
It's beautiful.
It's a park.
I mean, it's dark, that's for sure. To be fair,
Green.
Sorry. To be fair, Yannick, what you've described so far is really leaning into the fear aspect, and I think so far we've convinced everyone that we're going with this darker tone. Does this fear also imply some horror, maybe?
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier, but yes, the moment we started exploring the fantasy of the park, we need to start building the timeline of like, okay, what actually happened in the park? What do people know, and what do we know? And then what's the canon we build around that? But really, that sense of mystery that exists even within the community of like what is actually Central Park? That's something we wanted to bring into the world itself. And you imagine this huge park and this huge forest that is left abandoned. And nobody's here to maintain it. And what does it become? How does it grow? How does it develop? And very quickly, we really developed that fantasy of the haunted wood, the dark woods. Those stories of like, don't go into the woods. Nobody ever came out alive. And we really wanted to bring that into here to show you a community that is almost back to almost to a tribal structure, because they have no access to information, they have no access to technology to really understand what is around them. So you really step into this darkness, and that's really what gave us this tonality. And then exploring what you're going to find into the park, we really wanted to explore this horror vibe to bring something that is different. Every DLC, every experience we create, we try to... I realize I always look in this direction. I'm sorry, folks, I never look at you. I apologize, I'm going to be looking this way now. But every time we create a new a new DLC or a new experience, we're trying to bring something different. We're trying to make sure that piece has its own taste, has its own DNA. And so for Central Park, this is where the horror tone came in. So that's really what we wanna play around with. But on the other hand, I know I'm saying horror, I'm saying mystery, I'm saying like what lies within the park. We're still a Tom Clancy game, and so we need to make sure that everything we do, there is some level of authenticity there, and we are bending the rules, but we are also still making sure we're respecting the Tom Clancy identity. And that's been a very interesting and very fun challenge, and I think we've found the right way to answer that, and I just can't wait for all of you folks to dive into it.
That's amazing. We are just seeing another concept art now, another exclusive one here for Gamescom, and you just mentioned that the tonality is one of the pillars, one of the creative pillars that you created this DLC on. What other pillars do you have here for Echoes of Central Park?
Yeah, so we started working on Echoes of Central Park immediately after we released Battle for Brooklyn. So it's the team that built that DLC. We took all the learnings with us on what we liked and what we liked less about Battle for Brooklyn. And what was very clear was that first we wanted to be more ambitious, but ambition doesn't just mean size. It means size too, but it not just means that. It means in terms of what are we proposing here. So actually the very first things we set out to do when we said we're going to make a new DLC is we wanted to bring replayability in this DLC. So we are making a content piece that has a story, that has a campaign, but also has replayability and reasons for you to come back. So once you finish the story, you don't just throw away the map and that's it. You will have reasons to come back and to revisit and to re-experience this world, re-experience Central Park. It is built with endgame and replayability in mind. And then the other thing was gameplay itself and really the moment to moment. How can we find a way for it to not just tonally, but also once you play to feel different? What new ingredients can you bring in here? Can we bring in here to give it a different identity? So we will have a few new gameplay propositions in this DLC that are going to give it also a different identity from the rest.
Yes, there is a lot more to share about Echoes of Central Park, and you won't have to wait long to find out more. In just a few weeks, we're going to have a dedicated showcase where we share a lot more. So save the date for September 24th, 9 a.m. PT, 6 p.m. CEST. And yes.
It's less than a month. In less than a month, we'll reveal everything. Not everything, but a lot of things.
Yes. It's starting to be time to call today a wrap. Do you have any call to action for the agents before we leave the agent, Alex? Agent.
Yeah. So thank you so much for the feedback from PTS. Thank you for trying to help us build the best Division experience that we can. I'm super excited about Season 3. Again, I said it before, it came together really nicely. I think all of the elements are just right. We did do 20 passives again, but this time we removed the math behind them, so you're just gonna log them. They're super fun, they're super straightforward, and they're meant for you to be able to customize your build exactly the way that you want to do it. So thanks everyone here and online as well, and looking forward to seeing the feedback from Season 3.
Yes, enjoy the fire. Also, I want to remind you that tomorrow we have a meet and greet at 11 in the morning. This one will actually be live streamed on Instagram, so that is the Division game. And the silo, the link that is shared in the link, you can use that for those who are here. We have QR codes, so you can scan those, and we can prepare our answers for all your questions, and we can cover as many as possible.
Once again, thank you so much for everyone who is here today. If you, by any chance, are at home and you want to be part of tomorrow, you have 23 hours to be here because we have another panel tomorrow at 6 p.m. So, yeah, there's still time for you to come. And today we talk about what's happening soon in the Division 2. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the future. So that's it. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
The Division 2 crew delivering the goods in the final panel of today's Wednesday Gamescom livestream. Chat, did you get all the goodies you wanted? Talking about the new season, talking about crossplay coming, talking about Echoes of Central Park. There's a lot of good stuff there. We're even borrowing a little background from them. And there's more coming tomorrow in just 23 hours. If you're a Division fan, I will see you back here because I will be introing the next Division 2 panel coming at the end of the day tomorrow. So what remains in our broadcast today? We're going to quick recap what happened today, hit the highlights. So if you missed some of that stuff, you're going to get clued in. And then we'll talk about what's coming tomorrow so you know what's up. It all kicks off at 2 p.m. CEST tomorrow. Same time, same station. So please come back then. But what did we do today here? We kicked off the stream with Atomega. This is a new era for a competitive first person? Yeah, it's first person. First person shooter where you grow, evolve, and take on huge size during the match. Quick matches, dynamic gameplay. It's back in the mix with new updates, and you can download and play it on Steam. We did a little giveaway. There might be some codes left over for later in the week, though, if you're interested. Atomega is part of the Player Council, which was what it was announced today in that Player Ubisoft Community Platform reveal you see in today's schedule. PlayerCouncil.gg is a website you can go to if you want to join this program, which is giving players access to early builds, to prototypes that Ubisoft developers are working on, but also connecting them with those developers and creating this dialogue, creating this communication, this kind of connection to help develop these games and have community input. PlayerCouncil.gg. There's already a few games in the mix. Atomega, one of them. Riders Republic, another. And then 2 prototypes, Split Point, a 1v1 PvP tactical game, and Codename Rook, a single-player strategy game, that are all part of that. PlayerCouncil.gg to sign up. Then we heard from the Anno team. They dove into the Hippodrome DLC that just came to the game last week, talked about the various myriad complexities of the Hippodrome and how it can be in your city, as well as some other little updates as well that were fun to notice. And then a little tease of Dawn of the Delta, the 3rd DLC for Anno 117 Pax Romana, that they'll be talking about more in October. Anno's coming back tomorrow. There's going to be more Anno goodness. We'll talk about that in just a second. Then it was Heroes of Might and Magic 3 Remake, just announced last night at Opening Night Live here at Gamescom. This was a intro to the game, to the project, and a glimpse at some assets from the game, some of the gameplay, but a really robust Q&A with the development team and with John Van Caneghem, the original creator of Heroes of Might and Magic. A lot of good details there if you're curious about that game, to go back and check it out. And of course, we just wrapped the Division 2 segment. Lots in there. The Division 2 team is always good for the details. Crossplay coming in November. Red Horizon season starting tomorrow. The Cleaners are coming to DC. Then new Dark Zone variants in the mix as well as the reveal of the name, the title and setting for DLC 3, Echoes of Central Park, which won't just include Central Park, but also the Upper West Side, as Yannick was saying. More on that in a showcase. Special showcase on it September. The Division 2 showcase on Echoes of Central Park is in September on the 24th. You'll learn plenty more there. Now, tomorrow, we have a whole new slate of panels coming for you. That is our Thursday lineup. You see it right here. We're kicking it off with Anno, Echoes of Cassandra, and Crafting Cosmetics. So we're delving deep into another aspect of Anno beyond the Hippodrome. Then we're also going to have Rayman Legends Retold. Made a splash last night at Opening Night Live with its Macarena level. And we're going to see how Kung Foot is shaping up in that game. I laugh because I just cannot say Kung Foot without remembering all the Kung Foot shenanigans I have experienced in my own life. And I hope you too have also experienced some Kung Foot shenanigans in your life. If not, you may get a taste tomorrow. Then we've got the Crew Motorfest. Going to check in with what's been going on in the crew with a live dev session at Gamescom, followed by the return of Heroes of Might and Magic 3. This panel will be focusing on user-generated content, UGC. Yiran was talking about it a little bit earlier in the Heroes panel. They have been working with and in dialogue and communication and collaboration with some of the major UGC leaders of the Heroes of Might and Magic 3 community. Of course, a rich history there, and so more to explore in the panel tomorrow. And then finally, the Division 2 will be back. You heard Leo say that this is going to be looking a little more towards the future. Now, this November, this is the future we were talking about earlier, but like more in the future, you know? So like what might that involve for the Division 2? Come on back in just 23 hours from now to catch the Division 2. But it's 2 p.m. CEST when this is all going to kick off tomorrow, and it's going to be right here on this channel. We are also going to have several more code giveaways for those of you hanging out with us in the Twitch chat. So come on back and try to win some free games because, like, free games. It's good. We're also going to have Division 2 drops once that comes around as well because that kicks off tomorrow with the start of the new season. Olenife, there will be giveaways tomorrow. And then I see you're all just sort of chatting here about what the Division folks talked about. If there were topics that they didn't touch on today, perhaps they will touch on them tomorrow. I don't know what's in store, but there's only one way to find out, and that's to come on back. Whew. So, big day. Gamescom 2026 kicking off with a bang here on Ubisoft's YouTube and Twitch channels, and of course over there at the Gamescom Community Lounge, where we had a full day full of developer insights, audience questions, and just a lot of good stuff that we also have in store for tomorrow. So I hope to see you here tomorrow as well, back at this channel, try to win a giveaway, try to learn some stuff, and hang out with me in the chat. It's going to be a good time, folks. Thank you again for watching today. We'll see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. CEST for Ubisoft's Gamescom livestream 2026. See you then.